Muted me. There we go. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm back, baby. I'm back. Sam had the rails on Thursday, and your boy is back. Welcome to a great LTS show. I am your host, Bodkins, as always. Well, not as always, as we learned Thursday. Sam beat me down, and he wanted to run the show. But, man, we almost got canceled there. So they said, get Bodkins back ASAP or there will be no LTS show. So your boy is back. I'm excited. It's been a great weekend with the family. Done some great things. I was at a baseball game Thursday, honestly. Now, Sam did an incredible job holding down the fort. The boys did. Oh, I gave him an F+ for the show on Thursday. So, please check that out. We got another great show for you today. So let's go ahead and bring in the boys. A guy I ain't seen or talked to, I feel like, in months. He's taking a sabbatical, I feel like, praying to the Yankee gods that they'll turn this damn thing around, but it doesn't look so good. If you would have told me July 21st, whatever today is, July 23rd, that the Yankees would be dead last and the Cubs wouldn't be dead last, I would tell you you're crazy. So let's bring him in, Mr. Yankee fan who is crying in tears still because the Yankees are dead last, Mr. Johnny Cruz.
What's going on, bro? Nah, I'm not crying in tears about the Yankees. I'm crying in tears about this damn move that is kicking my ass. But nah, the Yankees is just, luckily the pathetic, pitiful Kansas City Royals are in town. So we actually won a couple games the last 2 days, and it was scary to win those 2 games. But no, man, happy to be back. Happy to have you back, of course, and looking forward to having a fun show with the fellas today, man.
Johnny, this is a legit stat I read or I heard. So now they're kind of tied with dead last with the Red Sox after the last 2 games. But before that, earlier this week, they had sold dead last for the first time since 1990. George Steinbrenner is got to be rolling in his grave, going to haunt his sons and slap them around, maybe even haunt Brian Cashman. What the hell's going on?
I think you hit it right there in the head. It's a Brian Cashman thing, in my opinion. It's an organizational thing. Everybody's into this analytics thing, and I get it. Analytics are important, but it seems like the Yankees and Brian Cashman did a complete deep dive into the analytics. And my thing is, there has to be a healthy balance of analytics and, old school scouting and your gut reaction. How do you have a 3-time generational manager, Aaron Boone, as your manager, and he can't go off of his gut on something? Everything is strictly by the numbers. So it's been a hard season to watch Yankee baseball. And like you said, they haven't been in last place since 1990, and the trajectory that they're going at will probably finish in last place. I know they're trying to see if Aaron Judge can come back. I don't know if that's the best thing. I guess if he can play, he can play. If he's not going to hurt himself worse, then let him play. But it's been quite pathetic, to be quite honest, and it's been hard to watch, man.
Yeah, let me ask you 2 quick questions, Johnny. First of all, trade deadline coming up at the end. Yankees selling here, or are they trying to buy? And if they're selling, who the hell are they selling?
That's the hardest part. I personally think that they should be sellers. The Yankees are never going to blow it up and rebuild, but you got a few pieces there. You got Gleyber Torres you can try to move. You got IKF you can try to move. Stanton is never going to agree because he's got a full no trade. But if you can somehow get rid of him, I think they should do it. But and I've been saying this for a couple months that they should, use this opportunity to kind of replenish that farm system. But I don't know that they'll do it. There's nobody out there to trade for as far as if they were buyers that you're going to be like, all right, that guy, yeah, if we get him, we straight. Even Ohtani. Even if we got Ohtani, like we're going to have to give up every top prospect we have, including Gleyber, Anthony Volpe, and what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he wants to be on the East Coast. So we're going to give up all this stuff for a 2-month rental. And I don't think that's going to do it for us. I think it's beyond just acquiring a player or two to make a run. I don't think we're a player or two away from winning a championship. Yeah, we might make the playoffs, but do you want to give up a lot to just get out in the first round? So this this is one of those years where I think we need to just take the L, and if we could trade off a few pieces and get some youngsters, I think we need to do that.
Cashman and Boone gone after this year.
Bro, it seems like Cashman, you know what I'm saying, is basically he's almost like you with the Larisons. He's almost an adopted Steinbrenner. He's been with the organization for so long, and it just seems like he never, you know what I'm saying, he never gets any blame for anything. So I don't know. It seems like he has a lifetime pass to be part of the Yankees and be their general manager. I think there needs to be some type of a new president of baseball operation, something. There's got to be another voice in the room. It can't just be Brian Cashman, because as much as people want to say, oh, he's a great general manager. Well, we've been to one World Series in 20-something years. So how great is he? You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I mean, unless we completely collapse and we're under 500, we don't make the playoffs. Aaron Boone is possible, but I don't see Brian Cashman. And plus, they both got extensions. Not that matters, but for some reason, I don't think Brian Cashman goes anywhere. But Aaron Boone might, with some of the moves he makes, man. I mean, like I said, I know it's a lot of it is analytical, but how do you take out starting pitchers at 64 and 74 pitches when they're pitching well, to go to the bullpen and try to get 9 and 12 outs every game? You just can't sustain something like that. So he's made some mistakes and some bad calls. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Boone gets bumped off. But Brian Cashman, it seems like I said, he's basically a Steinbrenner already. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
Fair enough. We'll see what's cracking. Let's keep going on. Let's bring in our super producer. He keeps trying to get me fired, but they keep bringing me back. It's in my contract with the legendary Dan Harris that I have to host this show. So give it up for a super producer, Tanner.
One day.
What up?
One day, Nick. Hello, moon, I tell you.
Tanner, what's up? I mean, training camp's right around the corner. How excited are you for the Chiefs?
Ecstatic. Chris Jones didn't show up. No shock there, but we had the same issue 3 years ago. When he was.
Did his deal, him not getting an extension, did that cost him D-Hop? You think? Me and you haven't really had a chance to talk about it.
No, because D-Hop wanted too much. And I know, yeah, you were kind of off on that, and we didn't really chat, but D-Hop's deal was too much. He wanted too many years, too much money. This wasn't going to be a long-term thing, right? This was going to be a juju style. Here's a year. Here's 10 mil. Come win a ring. It's
allegedly reported a team, one of the first teams, it's Chiefs or Bills, only offered him $4 million. That was probably the Chiefs, right? They can't afford. They could probably afford to give him more.
Veach could afford it. Let's be real. Veach could figure it out. But yeah, that's probably the Chiefs, because they're like, hey, you want to win a ring? Or do you just want to get paid? Well, He chose the latter, of course. So,
yeah, because that would be more of a luxury signing than a need.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So, and he chose money over winning. But he chose bro. He chose money over winning. He could have went to Kansas City for $4 or $5 million, won a ring, and then got out to the market next year.
Yeah, he made out that big list, his wants, his needs, everything else.
And not the Titans didn't fill one of them.
Now, I think the best meme I've seen out there is the Antonio Brown meme of him leaving in the Jets game. That final game. And it's like, here's DeAndre Hopkins, week 17, after Tannehill, Willis, and Levis all throwing the ball.
I mean, he's used to getting. That's you
have Savage there in Houston. Like you're going to be fine. D-Hop will be fine because he's dealt with bad quarterbacks. So.
Yeah, I did too. And I mean, he doesn't have that quite a personality. Antonio Brown. A little bit later, we're going to have one of the youngest people we've ever had on the LTS show. But, we got to go to the oldest guy we're always going to have on the LTS show. Coming from the nursing home, none other than our own Hall of Famer, Scott Cobe.
You.
Who's this old guy? What's up?
Scott, what's up? Who we betting on this morning? I know you're excited about the Open here.
We love the golf this week. Absolutely love the golf. Brian Hyman I had as an outright winner. He's 12 under 5 shots ahead right now. I have Max Homa for a top 20, and I have Matthew Jordan, the hometown boy, for a top 20, and they're both in the top 20 right now, so that could cash. In terms of baseball back here, we got San Diego on the money line, the Phillies on the money line, and Seattle on the money line. And I'm very tempted to take the Royals on the run line, but Severino's pitching today. He's been an outright disaster.
I don't care who's pitching against him.
Bro, you never know with the Yankees though, bro. The Yankees they could score no runs or they could destroy Kansas City. Like you never know, bro.
So I was talking with my Mike of the Buffoons, right? We went out a little brewery hopping yesterday. We were just chatting about the Royals, and do you think I know the A's technically have their worst record. Do you think the Royals is actually the worst team?
I mean, they got some good young pieces, though, man.
They got some young pieces, but we've never all year long. We're in July.
Yeah, but Oakland, like you can't even name Oakland's young pieces.
Yeah, but Oakland's had some nice win streaks. To Tanner's point, right? Like they went on.
We've never won 3 in a row. We've never won more than 2 in a row.
Yeah, they beat Atlanta 2 or 3 at home. They beat the Red Sox 2 or 3. They beat Houston yesterday. They might be. I mean, outside
of like, remember, like you take away like what they start like 0-20 or something. You know what I mean? Like they were just abysmal those first like month of the season. Yeah. You take that away, the Royals probably have a worse record, right? Yeah. Like,
I mean, as bad as this franchise has been for my 33 years here in this world, like we've had 2 playoff appearances. They've both been back-to-back World Series like appearances, one win. Outside of that, we've stunk. And we're looking at somehow after this whole 33 years, we're looking at record level stink coming into play this year. Like we could finish with the worst record of the Royals history. And that's hard to say because there were some bad teams when I growing up. So like this, and now they want the new stadium downtown. On top of that taxpayers have to vote for. Guys, I wouldn't be shocked if we're the next days and we're saying sell the team. You know, because
here's the
Mahomes ain't gonna sell the team. Mahomes is part
owner. It's Sherman, dude. Sherman has majority shares, and that's the Boston guy, and he wants his downtown stadium.
Yeah. So here's the other thing that really is telling for the A's. They've had 10 games this year at home where their attendance has been 2,000 or under, with the low of 984 people in attendance in a game. I think it was against Toronto back in May. So the A's have like drawn nobody this year except for that one game that the fans decided to go and go against what management.
The reverse.
Yeah, the reverse game. So they had like 4,000 for a game against the Houston Astros the other day.
That's insane.
4,000.
I mean, we're the third worst, but I know we're not the worst because we've had some sellouts. We've had some guys return. You had Locane's Hall of Fame. Opening day was sold out and disastrous, I heard. So, like we have our spurts because we got events going on. The A's don't have any events going on.
They can bring back Ricky Henderson and Jose Canseco and Dennis Eckersley and
it's still not sell out. I mean, they had the whole like reverse boycott thing, where they tried to sell out the stadium and only brought in 16,000.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that stadium. That stadium is a joke.
It's
so disgusting.
Are the Royals also the worst team because they're also in the worst division though? Like at least the A's, right? Like they're playing with the likes of the Astros, the Rangers.
Houston hasn't been that good. Seattle hasn't been that good. Angels haven't been that good. Like
they're all better than they would also.
They're all over 500, bro. They all got winning records.
Yeah, they would all be right now. You take all those
been that good all year. Is what I'm saying. Like they're not the teams they used to be, right? At least the Angels are better for sure.
But I'm saying all those teams would be better. Would be first place in the AL Central.
I don't think so. I think you can still be bad and be the worst team in a good division.
I mean, Taylor, let me ask you. You put the Royals in the Easts or the Wests. Do they have 20 wins this year?
No.
I think you got the same amount of wins you got right now.
I mean, it's a little different, right? Because like now you're not playing your division as much anymore. That's that's the thing. You play everybody, so it's not. We're looking at the division. We were talking yesterday. The Cubs and Cards are playing right now, and then they have a 4-game set in St. Louis, a 4-game set in Chicago this weekend, and then a 4-game set in St. Louis next weekend. That's it. They're done playing. The Cubs cards are over in mid-July or, in July. Like, it's just weird. And it's just like, what the heck's going on here? Like, how come we're not playing in late August or September like we normally play? It's just like, well, because we're playing everybody else and you're not playing your division as much anymore.
How do you guys feel about that whole balance schedule? I'm digging the balance schedule.
I like it.
I like it.
Every team.
I like it.
You should.
Yeah.
You have so many games that you should be able to play every freaking team on.
Man. I mean, you give every city the opportunity to see the best players from every other team. So I like it.
Or the worst, the worst players.
Or the worst teams, right?
You don't give every city the opportunity, but majority.
But I'm just saying,
you
give people chances. Like, people might actually have a chance to see Otani or to see Judge or to see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
players like
for
that
instance,
that they normally wouldn't see.
So, like, the Royals played at Milwaukee this year, but they won't come to KC. So next year they come to KC, but we don't go to Milwaukee.
Right.
It's like you're almost there. Like, you should be able to have some kind of a 2-series deal with every single team with as many games as you play in the MLB. So,
when Interleague broke in years ago, this should have happened. This schedule should have happened when it broke in.
Absolutely.
But baseball was just behind the times and didn't do it until this year. So
agreed. Let's go ahead. We'll bring in our very first guest on. I guess we had Whit on Sundays a couple times, but let's bring in our first youngest guest ever, guy who won the race for my nutsack, folks. And I became his biggest fan since then. None other than my son, bringing out his NBA top 5 offseason moves, Jaden Bodkins.
Yeah. I don't know if he's that thrilled about winning that race, but
you might be the unlucky one winning the race,
There's no music to bring him in or anything. Nothing.
Oh, you want some music? Yeah, I got you. It's all legal. It's all copyright free. Don't worry.
It's the Saturday night old folks home dance music.
Hey, there you go.
What's going on, Jaden?
What's up, Jaden?
Hey.
Welcome to the madness, bro.
Yep. Go ahead, Jaden. Go ahead and give us your top 5 NBA offseason moves. Just list them off and why, and then the boys will ask you some questions.
All right. My first one.
Start at 5. Let's go 5 to 1. 5 to 1.
All right.
Bottom of top here.
All right. My first is the OKC trade. OKC is basically rebuilding their team around Shea, and I'm not really going on a single trade for the OKC. I'm just working all around them, and they're really building around Shea because Shea's their only way of winning. So they're just adding pieces to Shea to use for the team. And I would say this is kind of a mid-trade because OKC has barely been a good team since they had Russ and KD. And other than that, they really haven't been that much of a good team. And then just Shea, just build around him. I feel like you got a chance of winning, at least going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So what trade did they make?
I can't remember his full name. I can only remember his last name. His name was like Robin something, but he was a good player. He averaged like 10 and like some other normal stats, like a normal player. He's probably just going to play as the 2 guard for Shea because Shea's probably going to move up to the 1 or the 3 for him. But that's really it. But Shea's the only way of winning for OKC because he's probably going to be the face of OKC like Dame. Dame was the face of the Trailblazers. So,
you talking about – wait, you said the trade?
I was going to say the super producer should be able to find that for you, bro.
Tata Washington traded, acquired via trade. Victor Oladipo was also via trade.
Didn't he play? He played there once too, right?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
I think he got drafted from them on that
but
play.
He was drafted to the Magic.
Yeah, the Magic drafted him and then wound up trading him.
And then he came to the
Oladipo's been traded every offseason.
But they got that good one piece in Shea. So that's a good one there, man. He's a good player.
It definitely is better, right? I mean, Casey Wallace coming into play now as a draft guy. Dieng is there. Jalen Williams, like they got pieces. Even Ty can be good when stuff needs to be.
Scott, while we're on the Thunder, you putting money on Chet Holmgren to win the Rookie of the Year, or is it Victor's to lose?
Victor.
It's Victor's to lose. Vegas to lose. No doubt about it. So
Go ahead. What's number 4, Jaden?
The Rockets pick up Dylan Brooks, the guy that should have been in China by now, playing in Taiwan with the big man. But he isn't. He signed a 5-year contract with the Rockets. The Rockets was in a rebuild stage when they lost James Harden. At this point, sign the worst, not really the worst player, but the person that will talk a lot of smack and he'll poke bears and you don't respect him until he gives you 40. And he can talk a lot of smack, but he puts up good numbers and sometimes he can play good D. But for this young team of Rocket players, they're very young. I feel like Dylan Brooks isn't really much of a role player. He isn't going to lead the team sometimes. Sometimes he will, sometimes he don't. And it's very rare for Dylan to actually lead a team to a good playoff run or a winning team. So I don't know why I put this at 4. I probably should put this at 5. And I don't know why I put this at 4, but
don't doubt yourself.
Yeah, don't doubt yourself.
Piece, man.
Yeah.
It's a bigger piece of what the Thunder are doing right now with that.
Right. I like that because you put Dylan Brooks was a good pickup. You put him with Van Fleet that they got as well. So you got a couple of adults in the room with all the young talent.
Jabari
all
Smith,
that young talent they got in Houston. I think that was a good pickup because he is a good defensive player. Just you know what I'm saying? Maybe don't talk as much smack until you can back it up.
You go with Udoka, right? So now you're with Udoka, the former Celtics.
Yep.
And so now you got true leadership underway. Because I believe they're still iffy there in Memphis there. But yet, I mean, this is a guy that's proven himself already. And you saw what the Celtics were like in the finals going last year. So, I think having a guy like that, having a roster built out now the way it is, I love this Dylan Brooks move because you need a dog. You need somebody to go out there and, be the guy who gets things messy a little bit. Go look at Draymond. That's what he does during the season.
Exactly.
So, having a guy like Dylan Brooks, it's a great move at 4.
Tanner, let me ask you something, Tanner, on this. Do you think the Rockets were just bidding against themselves for Brooks? It didn't seem like he had a market with that.
The Lakers.
They had money to spend anyway. They had to spend money. So
no, I know. My next question would have been: do you think the Rockets just said, "Oh, damn, we got this money. We got to throw it at somebody, so let's throw it at Dylan"?
Well, Brooks. I think he talked to the Lakers, but the Lakers were like, "There's no way." Like they couldn't make the money work. Yeah. He would have had to take a huge, less money than what he was making in Memphis. So. He go to Houston, kind of be that enforcer type. He's kind of role. Yeah,
right.
No, I love
and he'll do all the dirty work. He'll defend the best player. He'll rebound. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good pickup, man. That's a good number 4.
I think you would have saw somebody else come into play, right? I mean, if the Rockets decided not to do it outside of the Lakers too, I think you saw I would think you would see the Clippers. I could see somewhere else, somewhere on the East Coast, probably going after him too. So. I think there would have been a market as we got closer to training camps beginning there. So, but I mean, overall, Houston's a perfect place because that's just a team they're trying to put together a little core together. So,
he's not a bad player, man. He just put his foot in his mouth,
not.
Bro. That's all
he's not.
They gave a shit ton of money to Van Fleet as well, too. So it's not like, you know what I mean? Like they had money and they spent it on, they couldn't go get the superstar. I don't think that they wanted, and maybe they're still trying to get. Seems like they were trying to maybe go to James Harden and use that cap space for James Harden. But then once he opted in and now has asked for a trade to the Clippers, it looks like, now it's like, well, we'll just throw this money at Dylan Brooks and Van Fleet, some good veteran ball players to help our young core that they're.
I think that's probably the best thing to happen to them is to not get James Harden.
Yeah.
And I think
because imagine the influence that he would have on those young kids. Come on, man.
It's the worst thing that happened to Houston strip clubs, though.
These moves are Emi Udoka fueled rather.
They are.
These moves are really based on what he wanted. So.
Well, Dylan Brooks can be the Marcus Smart, right, Scott? Like, I mean, that's a perfect comp.
Perfect comp. Perfect comp. He can be that.
Marcus Smart.
Defensive wise, doing the dirty work for that team.
Yeah.
Brooks can be that way.
Yeah, he can fill in that role for.
Brooks is a better scorer than Smart in some aspects of the game. So.
Oh yeah, he is.
He
can be
uses
right,
his body,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
What's number 3, Jaden?
Boston and Porzingis. They
Yeah.
finally picked up a big man. I feel like Al Horford, he is a 3, not a 4 or a 5. Porzingis, he's actually a 5, and I feel like if he's healthy, he is a superstar. He is a big man, and I feel like they could finally get some defense, like some paint inside defense. And if Porzingis stays healthy, his knees don't go out or anything, because usually 7-footers, their knees usually go out. Yao Ming, his career ended, but Porzingis, if his knees and he stays healthy, I feel like they have a chance of going to the finals again and maybe win the finals. But he just has to stay healthy. And with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I feel like this is a good three-team superstar team.
Does that move put him up above Milwaukee or the Heat? Adam
Yeah,
Porzingis?
I think so.
A little bit, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
But Giannis is my favorite player, so he's not better than Giannis, okay?
Yeah,
So,
but Giannis needs Middleton to stay healthy, but I agree with you on that one, man. If Porzingis
Middleton
stays
needs Giannis to
healthy,
stay healthy.
Yeah.
if Porzingis stays healthy, I agree, man. I think he's the perfect complement to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, because he can shoot, he can spread the court out, the floor out for them, and you know, he can actually play some defense if he wants to play defense. He can rebound, so. Yeah, if he can stay healthy, that's a great pickup for Boston, in my opinion.
The one thing I think factor into that I haven't heard mentioned is Porzingis isn't going to have to play 40, 42 minutes every night.
Right.
Between Horford, Robert Williams, and Porzingis, you know, each of them can get 30 to 35 minutes, and they can save their bodies till the playoffs when they cut the rotation down. So, yeah, they've been trying for Porzingis for years to get him, and they finally landed him. So, and Jaylen Brown is about to sign the $300 million contract. He was out. He was in overseas last week. He's back now, so they're going to resume contract negotiations this week, and I think it's going to get done. So, what they build around those three with Brogdon and White and all those other guys, that'll be interesting to see what they build for a bench. But
are you at all worried about who's running the point? I mean, I know they're going to have White running
They
it,
that last week or last year.
They got Brogdon still.
They got Brogdon. It's going to be Brogdon.
I love it.
Is he healthy? Is Brogdon healthy?
Yeah.
Well, he's as healthy right now as he can be. What was said on ESPN I watched is an executive called the Celtics looking to get Brogdon, and the Celtics said he's a big part of our future. They're not trading him. He's
like
their
Brogdon.
point guard for now and for the next 3 or 4 years. So, so they have their starting five basically set right now. It's just what they build.
They also got the backup with Pritchard, right? And that's he's on the USA team too.
Yep.
Brad Stevens, he's addressing it. I mean, this feels like a Chiefs style, right? It's like, oh, the O-line sucks. Let's go address the O-line. Oh, your wide receivers suck. Well, we'll address that later, but don't you worry about it. It's coming. The defense improved, right? It's the same thing here with the Celtics. Oh, your point guards suck. Let's go out and get White. Let's go get Brogdon, right? Then last year. This year, all right. Obviously, Robert Williams and Al Horford can't do it all down low. They are not that effective, and they can't, Williams
can't score. They can't
yeah.
score.
So let's go out and get a Porzingis.
Let's go get Porzingis.
Trade Grant Williams away. Let's go get some extensions. Like, this feels like a making of like, hey, we're not done. Like, just because we lost some pieces, we're not done of trying to make a championship run. Like, we still got pieces here, and we can add to it to be able to work. So I love what Stevens is doing because
Scott, they couldn't run that back though, right? Like they couldn't run back to the fourth year in a row of the trio of Smart, Tatum, Brown. Like they had
to do something.
I mean, and hypothetically, they got rid of, not saying the worst player, but out of those three, Smart was the lesser of the three. So okay, we're gonna have to make a move. We definitely want to keep Jason Tatum. He's our future. And then we got to keep, Jaylen Brown, right?
Yeah, and when Smart was traded, Porzingis, when this trade happened, Tanner said something that I fully 100% believe in. Smart did as much as he could do in Boston. He couldn't do any more. It was time to move on and try to revamp what you have, except keep Brown and Tatum and just build around them. And that's what they did with Porzingis and Brogdon and White. They started this a year and a half ago with White. and then they brought Brogdon in. Now Porzingis. And the smart thing that Stevens did was he ripped up $37 million. He signed him to a 2-year, $60 million extension. He brought his number down on the cap, gave him a little bit more room for money-wise. Now Stevens is saying he can go out and make that 1 or 2 more moves that will help this franchise be a title contender for the next 3 years, probably 4 years. So,
Scott, before we get to Jaden's number 2, is Stevens a better GM or better coach?
What up, Dan?
I'd say as his recent development, he's a better GM right now. He knows how to build a team. He knows what he wants. He goes out and gets it. He has no loyalty. He has no feelings toward these guys. Yeah, was it tough to trade Smart? Yeah, it was, he said. But in the end, he has no feelings like, oh, I'm not going to trade him because he's been here for 10 years or whatever.
But that's what you need in a GM.
Exactly.
Yeah. The fans, we get mad or upset, right? But at the same time, like, it's a business, man. Like, it's a business. You got to do what's best. Scott, like, everybody liked Marcus Smart in Boston. He felt like he fit the culture almost. But at the same time, like, if Boston wins a championship with Kristaps Porzingis puts up 30 and 10, 20 or 30 and 10, like, hey, Marcus Smart was the thing of the past. That was the smartest move Brad Stevens could ever made.
I would even say they're a better team right now than they were at the end of last year with the Smart trade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Grant Williams done too.
What do you got for number 2?
The Bradley Beal trade to the Suns. This super team is phenomenal. You got not Dylan Brooks. You got KD. You got Beal and Booker. You got these three phenomenal scorers. And of course, you got KD, which has been a phenomenal scorer for since he came into the league. And then Brooks, Booker, he is phenomenal. And with he's been phenomenal right now. And this super team is great. I feel like it was a good move to get Beal, but they lost Chris Paul. But I feel like these three are really good, and I feel like it might work. I think the chemistry is just going to have to work on a little bit, maybe. Yeah. But other than that, they could score, and these three can give you like 20 or 30 a night.
Yeah. Are you worried about them not having a bench?
That's probably like the worst thing. Probably, yeah. That's probably the worst thing for the Suns. Their bench and their depth isn't that really good. Their starters have to play a lot more minutes because the bench players are really not that good.
They're thin
and no depth. And
it's great and all. Have a regular season award, but when you can't get past,
they can win that. Tanner, they can win that NBA in-season trophy that we were talking about.
Yeah. Hey, great season, guys. Hey, we got more to play. Oh.
If I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, I'm scared to death DeAndre Ayton's still part of the team.
Yeah,
totally scared to death that this guy, it seems like he's not going anywhere. I don't know if anybody out there wants him.
Now
that's the problem. That's the problem. I don't think anybody's going to trade for him.
He would have been
with the money. Yeah. They should have let him go to Indiana last year.
Yeah,
should have. I agree 100%.
What's your final NBA offseason move?
My first one is Chris Paul going to the Warriors. This is phenomenal. Even though
for who?
For Chris Paul.
For Chris Paul, they gave up a young star, Jordan Poole, which he was great 2 seasons ago, but he gave him Poole and 2 bench warmers and a bunch of picks for Chris Paul. And Chris Paul, CP3, he's a great player. He will lead the team. He will literally pass the ball as much as he can, but I feel like this is great for the Warriors since he got Clay and Steph, which are phenomenal 3-point shooters. So I feel like Chris Paul, if they can just get that pick and roll with John Stockton and Karl Malone, and then just drive to the hoop, and the defense is going to force him, and then they can just kick out for a 3 and easy 3. So this is great, but they gave up a little too much depth for Chris Paul, but that's probably the only bad thing. And
are you worried about Paul being like 40 and bad knees and 80-year-old man?
I feel like he's probably going to retire after his contract is done. If they do win a ring, he's definitely going to retire. But Other than that, I feel like that's probably the only issue. Depth and Chris Paul aging. That's like the one thing.
Go for it, dude.
Guys, I want to make an announcement right now. The nursing home is going mobile to Golden State, my nursing home. They're sitting outside the arena every night. Giving up Jordan Poole for Chris Paul is like
it's
That's
insane.
it's
What do we
rough.
do?
Here's the thing. My buddy sent me this. Shout out to Kenny. We kind of talked about this morning. How about all these guys that talk shit to the wrong dude, right? Jordan Poole talk shit to the Draymond Green, new team. Dylan
Right.
Brooks talk shit to LeBron, new team. Grant Williams talk shit to Jimmy Butler, new team. Hey, sometimes that chirping shit ain't working, boys. Like sometimes you just gotta shut your mouth.
Can't back it up.
As The Rock says, shut your mouth and know your role.
That's right. That's right.
Did they cost the Golden State cost themselves their future after
Yes, they did.
Curry,
Yeah, they
Thompson, Green?
Yeah,
They did. They
I
did.
feel like they
And
should get rid of Green. Get rid of Green. He
Yes.
has too much
Don't sign him
problem.
back.
They brought him
He's a
back.
free agent.
They shouldn't. They should
He's a
literally
free
give
agent.
him away.
Don't sign him back.
Literally, I don't know why they signed him back. Just get rid of him. He is too much of a problem.
It's Steph's guy. Steph's guy.
Shout out to Gina and Reppin Bay. But she said that if Steph wanted Draymond back, Draymond was coming back.
Yeah.
And they must have went to
Amen.
Steph and asked him, "Do you want him back?" And he said, "Damn straight, I want him back. Sign him."
And they brought
Not
him
only
back.
that, Jordan Poole's a good young player, but he was also playing with two of the greatest shooters of all time. So he had a lot of open shots.
Yeah.
And he started to try to kind of get ahead of himself, thinking he was too good. But let's see how he does in Washington when he ain't got two Hall of Famers playing with him.
Wait
plays
till
there.
Poole is your new Bradley Beal. The other guy from Washington from before Beal. So
John Wall.
John Wall.
not John Wall.
Gilbert Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas.
There you go. Your Arenas, your Beal, and now you're gonna have Poole, and you're still
Yeah.
gonna suck in Washington because that's just what you do. So
Yep.
you know.
I would agree 5 years ago with Chris Paul would have been a phenomenal move for them. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. Right now, he's earmarked to run the second team offense. And that's why you traded him to run the second team offense at Golden State.
Right.
That's he's got a 20-25 minute cap on his minutes this year.
Well, yeah, they gotta hope so that way he's actually available come playoff time, because that's his issue.
Yeah.
The best ability is availability, is what we always say.
Yep.
Definitely. So
That's
So
a good
here's
list,
what we
man.
got,
That's a good list, Jaden.
Jaden,
Good
Craig
list.
has a bonus question. He says, "Good top five." Bonus question: best off-season coaching move.
Oh gosh.
Put him on the spot. He did research, so he doesn't now. He's putting him on the spot.
I gotta say, just to throw one out there, isn't it the Ime going to Houston?
I mean, that kind of happened in season, but I guess you could consider that an off-season move.
But
I would say, not trying to be a homer, Celtics reshaping their coaching staff.
Okay,
Seriously.
Alan. Okay,
Their
Alan.
coaches staff. I mean, look at who they got. They got a coaching staff now that Missoula is comfortable with, believes in, and a lot of former players now. So these Sam Cassell was a great hire for them. Great hire for them.
I think the Udoka move is probably my favorite. I do
Udoka's
love the
great.
coach for the Bucks too, coming into play. I think there's going to be some
Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good things come to that Buchholz wasn't able to make happen.
Do you think Nurse has any shot in Philly?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
a little bit.
Because I think Embiid now is going to get coached the right way. I'm not saying Doc Rivers did it totally wrong, but I think Nick Nurse will now coach Embiid the way he should have been coached all along.
Yeah.
Also, what's going on with Philly right now? Embiid in an interview, even though I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but Embiid, in a recent interview, he said he wanted to win a championship. It doesn't matter if it's with Philly or a different team.
Yeah.
Is he trolling or is he not trolling?
I think he's spitting facts. I think he's just being honest.
It's both.
So
It's a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
True.
I mean, these players nowadays, they're not going to stick around as much. I mean, Embiid did because he had this 900-year injury on his foot, but coming out of college. But outside of that, I think you all reach a point. Lillard finally reached his point, right? With that,
Yeah.
And that was after what, 11 or 12 seasons too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Lillards that are going to stay with a franchise for a decade. And then, you know what I'm saying, they're going to give teams 5-6 years. And if you don't do what you need to do to help us win, they're going to want to bounce.
So here's my question. Where does Philly fall in the East now? Are they still?
They got to figure out this James Harden scenario.
It depends on what happens with that.
Yeah, three still.
And also they got to Reese. They got to do an extension on Maxey and Tyrese. They got an extension on him. His contract is expired. If they don't extend him, what's going to happen to him?
Right.
I think they're waiting. All they're waiting for is the Harden stuff. I think once that gets taken care of, I think they'll take care of the other stuff right away. But
yeah, agreed, Scott. Hey, we'll give it up for the one and only Jaden Bodkins, folks.
What up? Thank you, man. Great job, bud.
Great job, Jaden.
Hey, just tell me if you guys want me back. If this buffoon here, because I'll take over the show.
Look, hey, if you want to host, that's great for me.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Sam had to take a few days off because
hey, it's hard. It's hard work hosting this. That's why Sam took a few days off. Speaking of Thursday, you guys jumped into our little AFC North preview. I know Scott had some fantasy stuff and predictions. I didn't give out my predictions, so Scott, I'm gonna go from bottom to top, and then you just kind of bounce off the bets and the fantasy. Okay. The team I got dead last in this division, surprise, surprise, I think is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not sold on their offense still. They got an aging defense. I'm not huge on their defense. I'm not huge. You guys said it on Thursday's show, Scott. Odell's coming off 2 ACL surgeries. He's way past his prime. They gave him a lot of money for a guy who I don't know is going to be how good he's going to be anymore. And we don't know how Lamar's going to be as a passer. We can keep saying this over and over, but I got the Ravens at in the last place at 4. Is that 4 teams? Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 4 teams.
Yeah.
4
That's what I have written down here. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess I'm kind of with you. I got Baltimore and Pittsburgh both at 9 and 8 in the bottom of the division. So what's up?
You can't change your teams from Thursday.
That's right. You can't change now.
I didn't change.
They are on the list.
I got Pittsburgh. I got Pittsburgh in 4th place, but I got Pittsburgh and Baltimore both at 9 and 8. So,
yeah,
go ahead, Scott. What fantasy advice you got for the Ravens here?
Who's winning in the North, though? Nick,
we'll get there, Johnny. I said we're going bottom to top.
Is J.K. Dobbins. And you guys realize he averaged 6 yards a carry last year, but he only had 92 carries. So if we get that J.K. Dobbins, Baltimore may be a little bit better than people expect. But how many times is he going to run the ball with all the new toys and the new offensive coordinator and things they put in Baltimore? So he is their unquestioned number one running back. Lamar is the guy that carries the mail for them a lot. So that's my question with them. Is J.K. Dobbins going to be a factor, or is he just going to be a guy that gets 10, 12 runs a game and no passes out of the backfield? That's where I see. And the betting advice, Baltimore to miss the playoffs is plus 140 right now.
Oh, sign me up for that.
You guys think they're missing or making?
By the way, guys, Anthony out here says, call me crazy. I think Zay Flowers will be number 1 receiver by week 5. Here's the issue, too. I'm on Orlads where you got your official NFL depth chart. There is no Bateman. And this is a guy that hasn't reported to camp yet. And Ravens expect him to, which of course, but that kind of makes me a little worried though. As a Bateman, I like Bateman as a guy to draft. Yeah. But if Odell's not looking good, Zay Flowers is outshining him, and you got to turn to Nelson Aguilar. Lord have mercy on that roster right now. This isn't Patrick Mahomes. This is Lamar Jackson, right? So, but I like Zay Flowers as my fancy guy for this Ravens team.
Yeah, I do as well. After Mark Andrews, I think he's the number 2 guy in the passing order.
Outside of, I guess, so if Bateman comes back, he's healthy. You mean Bateman? But I still think Zay Flowers has a hell of a year in his rookie year.
And keep in mind,
it's going to come down to can Lamar consistently hit the open guy, man? That's the bottom line. Is he going to be able to pass the ball efficiently?
He got paid. You'll hit opening guy.
Yeah, you can get paid all you want. That doesn't make you a good passer.
He's a good passer. Everybody just doubts him.
The other thing to keep in mind,
everybody watches him.
Yeah, I
His
know.
rookie wide receivers do not make an impact until about halfway through the season.
Agreed.
Well, just
Yeah.
because he starts slow, that doesn't mean he's not doing what they need him to do.
Right.
That's
He'll
right.
start getting his targets about halfway through the season. So
All right, so my number 3 team in this team, Johnny just mentioned it. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that they added some pieces. I think Kenny Pickett's gonna. I think they could make it to number 2 seed, but I'm just not sold on Kenny Pickett quite yet. I need another year of progress, much like I needed to see from Jalen Hurts and Tua last year. I need to see another year, a leap from Kenny Pickett, Small Hands Pickett. So hold me closer, tiny hands, Kenny Pickett. I got the Steelers at 3.
Yeah.
the guy.
I mean, I love Pickens, bro.
Yeah.
I love Pickens.
The guy I'm looking at in fantasy is Pickens, George Pickens,
Mhm,
and can he make the ascension up even higher in the NFL ranks? And how's Deontay Johnson going to do? That's the other question.
Who cares?
Deontay Johnson 0 touchdowns last year, 0. That's amazing for a guy that.
I like Deontay Johnson where you're drafting him. Sometimes he's even going undrafted in some drafts. Like I think he'll bounce back in a huge way.
And my betting thing is Pittsburgh's over under is 8.5 wins at -120. It's going to be close. Tomlin's never had a losing season before.
That's what I was going to ask. This is the first year this first year Tomlin has
last year.
Yeah.
It should have been last year.
It should have been.
It should have been last
Should
year.
be this year too.
They had a tie, right? They had a tie. That's what saved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tie saved him.
Yeah. So I mean, they're either going to win 8 or 9 games this year. I don't think they're going to win more than 9. So it depends how you feel when you go to the betting.
I think they win 9. I think they go 9-8. Like I said, just like Baltimore.
Yeah, they figure it out.
So our number 2 team is none other than after a full year of playing, and now that the limelight is off of him, the story news is off of him. There's not all this, distractions and everything else. They got some really good pass rushers. We was a guest on our show, and I like these super cool white uniforms they played out. I mean, the new uniforms they're bringing out with the white helmets. Give it up for Massage Watson and the Cleveland Browns as my number 2 team.
You guys know why he picked Cleveland number 2. It's those uniforms. That's the only reason why.
He got him. He just sold him.
So my fantasy guy is Deshaun Watson. Does he return to the guy he was in Houston, or is he going to struggle out of the gate and struggle all year long with? And he's got the best team around him that he's had, I think, in his whole career. So my question is: Deshaun Watson a top 8 quarterback this year in fantasy and the NFL? I think he is. I think he is.
He's back.
I don't know about fantasy, but I think he'll be top 10. Definitely top 10 in the NFL.
Well, if you're a top 10 in the NFL, you're usually a top 10 in fantasy, Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more winning ball games and stuff like that. I think, like I said, I got Cleveland winning the division. So I think Deshaun is going to ball out, bro.
So that means you're going over on this. Over under for Cleveland for wins is 9.5 this year.
Yeah.
I'm going over.
Yeah, I got them winning. I got them winning 12.
And watch Thursday's show. So
I'm going plus 150. It's plus 115. So I'm going to over.
Yeah.
I would hit that too, Scott.
Yeah.
I like that.
Scott, do we like Elijah Moore to get some good fantasy reps there in the receiving core?
I don't know. They're talking about he could be a casualty, a roster casualty.
He's better than Donovan Peoples-Jones. He just traded
by drafting Tillman and all the stuff they get around him. If Cleveland releases him, it's the dumbest move I've ever heard of.
Marquise Goodman's about to be out for a year because he's having issues. So, hey, you know what, Elijah Moore? If you need a spot to go to for someone that's browning themselves, Kansas City is looking for a wide receiver, and I will take you. I'll buy your jersey. I'll do everything because you are talented.
Take you to the best barbecue spots in town.
Oh man, let's go.
I don't know though, Tanner. Do you really want a wide receiver room full of weird? I don't want to say weirdos, but just some
players,
unique individuals.
And all the best players
in Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney.
Time out.
Love it. Give it
if
to
there's any quarterback on the planet that can make this work with Elijah Moore and all those receivers, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Elijah Moore,
no doubt about it.
He's not bad. He did really well last year, despite his sayings, with the Jets. So the guy has talent. He's shown he has talent. He did talent in New York, just wasn't the right organization for him. You know, the Browns should be because they're weird too. But I mean, I can't.
I thought he was going to be their solid number 2. I figured
I thought so too, man.
And then Tony.
I thought so too. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones is there, and they drafted a kid out of Tennessee, Tillman, and Njoku and Cooper and
good ones about to be out, but they like Shorts a lot. I know they like Shorts a lot. Try to keep him on.
Yeah,
David Bell they like a lot. So
So,
but that's I just don't get it. Like
you traded for him, and now all of a sudden he's on the bubble. That's what it hurt.
So weird. There has to be more to it. There has to be more to it.
Yeah.
And then my final team, I think they take just a little bit step back because their secondary. You can't just they lost Von Bell, they lost Jesse Bates. Those are guys that are hard to replace. But man, they're going to put up a lot of points with you guys know what it is. It's Burrow, it's Bodkins, it's Bengals, baby. Get used to the saying around here. I mean, when you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, is it T. Higgins? No.
T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins. I was thinking of T. Martin at the same time I was saying that. T. Higgins, all those pieces. I know they lost their tight end, but it's the third different tight end that Joe will have in 3 years, and he'll find the tight end. So, Scott, I don't even know their tight end's name, but I feel like that's a fantasy option.
Irv Smith.
Well, I gave you a quarterback.
Irv Smith, right? Yeah.
It's Irv Smith, who's very athletic. If you remember 2 or 3 years in Minnesota, he was a guy that went over the middle, caught a lot of balls for them. He can run after the catch. Joe Burrow likes to find his tight end in a lot of situations. I think he could be the new red zone threat in Cincinnati for Burrow. And I think he's going to have one of his best years of his career. He gets hurt all the time, so there's no way he's not going to have the best year of his career.
I love Chase Brown in this offense. I said Chase Evans on many shows. I got confused with the Rams running back and a combination of this one. So, but Chase Brown, I love this one. I have him in all my drafts so far too. So, because
they're definitely going to put up points. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think we talked about it on Thursday too. Tanner mentioned the secondary. Like, I'm worried about their defense. Are they going to be able to make that stop when they have to, especially against Patrick Mahomes or Buffalo or whoever?
They still got really good edge rushers, though, Johnny. You just worry about their second end. You know what I mean? So as long as those guys can cover, for 5 seconds, 3 seconds, that
5 seconds is a long time in the NFL, bro.
Look, last year, right? So the Chiefs had rookies. We had a bunch of rookies and Justin Reed in our freaking secondary, and Juan Thornhill, I guess, too. But we had a bunch of nobodies, technically a 6th rounder and everything like that. They were able to put enough pressure on the quarterback and gave those guys opportunities to become a good, have the opportunity to become a good secondary for the league. So all you got to do is try to pressure the quarterback, and hopefully your secondary is common sense enough and not Phillip Gaines, and where you can turn around and see the ball, or at least be aware of where the ball is. So
I get you on that, and I hear you on the whole pressure thing. But again, when you're playing the elite teams, are they going to be able to come through? You know what I'm saying, against those top notch quarterbacks and all those wide receivers? Like I said, I have no doubt Cincinnati's going to put up a hell of a lot of points. But at some point, you got to make a stop, man. So we'll see if they'll be able to do that.
And here's the betting angle for Cincinnati. Jamar Chase is plus 600 to lead the NFL in receiving yards. Do you take it or do you not take it?
Plus 600, I like. I mean, why not put a little money?
I like the plus 600.
The man Cousins throwing to Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. That's where I'm going.
He's my issue. I'm not taking that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Jamar Chase. Is like there's another guy like Higgins. There's too much, a little bit of bread to go around, the ball to spread. You know what I mean? Like with Higgins, with Irv, with Joe Mixon. Like,
Boyd is the number 3.
Boyd. So like they got
to Tanner's point. If Joe Mixon struggles this year, watch out really for Chase Brown. Then he's really going to take off. So if you got a chance to get him in the 6th, in the last pick of your draft, do it.
I think the Bengals do what they normally do a little bit, struggle a little early on, and then they get hot late. You look at their last 2 seasons, that's exactly what happened. But this offense, man, I think they could be scoring a lot of points with a go. We could see some 30, 40 type games, or especially early on in the season until those that secondary gets settled in.
I'll tell you a game to go over. Week 1, Cincinnati, Cleveland. That's going to be an over game.
Yep.
Both teams going to score.
That's going to be a shootout. That's going to be a shootout. That's going to be fun.
So
nice.
Well, that was our AFC North. The boys all made their predictions on Thursday, so I just wanted to get mine out there on paper. We're going to hold each other accountable, so if you want all their picks, check out Thursday's show along with the guest, the legendary that is Bobby G. So, Bobby's got to be – he's probably going to get himself a nice little white helmet, I feel like. Those things are
those are nice.
I like the Bengals white. Speaking of, man, when they rock those white uniforms that they got in the white helmet –
yeah, with the black, white, black.
I prefer the orange still. I love the orange.
Nah, man, give me the black.
They're classic. You know what I'm saying? The stripes is awesome.
You like the orange?
Yeah, I like their orange. I love their orange one.
Nah, give me the white and black. Maybe I'm a little new school. Maybe I just like a little something different. So,
and shout out to Bobby G. His new program on Let's Talk Sports should be really good. Prove me wrong. That should be really good.
Yep, it's gonna be.
And I know Tanner's involved in it too, so it should be an awesome show. So,
yep.
Yeah, I caught the first episode. Bobby G putting in some good work. So shout out. You can catch his show right here on the LTS network. Let's go ahead before we get up out of here with the cruising return of the cruising top 5. Johnny, you got them written down after the Kleenexes from crying about the Yankees.
But we can't use the Smokey Robinson.
Like I said, I haven't been crying about the Yankees, man. I've been crying about this damn move. The Yankees, I'm over it, man. It's football season, bro. It's football season. But no, I threw this one together. I know everybody on the panel are big time wrestling fans, so I got my all-time favorite wrestlers. Now I'm a little older, and I gotta admit I stopped watching wrestling like in the mid '90s. So you're not gonna have a Stone Cold. You're not gonna have The Rock on my list or any of the new people. This is an older school list, so I'm sure Scott probably went to high school with some of these guys. But this is gonna be my top 5 here. My number 5 is Dusty Rhodes. Was one of my favorite ones growing up. So he's my number 5. My number 4 is Andre the Giant, OG from back in the day. A lot of people don't give him the love and respect that I think Andre the Giant should have gotten, man. I mean, he really helped wrestling like get going back in the late 70s and 80s. My number 3 is Bret the Hitman Hart. He was badass when I was young and watching wrestling. My number 2 is The Undertaker. He kind of started to get going as I was finishing off, watching wrestling, but his whole gimmick and the whole thing was just awesome with The Undertaker. And my number 1 all-time favorite wrestler is none other than the Nature Boy himself, Ric Flair. Talk about charisma and being able to put on a show for people. So that's my top 5 all-time favorite wrestlers. Like I said, it's old school. Like I said, I haven't really been into wrestling since the mid-90s. So that's my list there. I got Dusty at 5. Andre the Giant at 4, Bret the Hitman Hart at 3, The Undertaker at 2, and like I said, the Nature Boy Ric Flair is my number 1 all-time favorite wrestler. So there you go. Sorry, youngins. I know there's a lot of youngins out there that are like, what the hell?
That's the first
who are half of these guys?
That's the first thing that pops off. No Hogan would be the first thing.
You're
either a Flair or a Hogan guy, one of the other.
My whole thing is like, first of all, like I said, I think he did Andre wrong. With the whole backstory. If you watch those documentary stuff, he kind of did him wrong. And my whole thing was like, seriously, you drop your leg on somebody and they can't. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your finishing move. Like they can't. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man, that was weak. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion.
He had a bionic leg. He had all that plates in
nah, man. Yeah, all the vitamins and all the prayers and all that. Nah, I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather go Undertaker, Ric Flair, and like I said, Bret Hitman, you know what I'm saying? Randy Macho Man Savage, Jimmy Superfly, Bam Bam Big. Like I was into all those guys. You know what I'm saying? Bam Bam was a big one of mine too, Bam Bam Bigelow from back in the day. But Ric Flair was he was the man.
Yeah, I agree.
Scott, I was gonna say, Johnny, Hogan owes everything to Andre. Like
That's right.
Andre
That is
doesn't
right.
Like
put
Andre
Hogan over.
let him, just so the young people know, Andre let him slam him.
Well, yeah, if
You know what I'm
Andre
saying?
doesn't put Hogan over in WrestleMania 3,
Right.
who knows if we don't get the Hulkamania,
That's
right,
it doesn't
right.
kick off the way it was, the way it
Right.
is. And maybe wrestling as a whole doesn't kick off the way it is, with the Hogan and WWF and things like that. So the wrestling world owes a lot to Andre the Giant.
It does. Yeah.
And because he was a just draw by himself because of how massive he was and the size he was.
Right.
If there wasn't wrestling, he would have been in like one of those sideshow, unique circus.
Carnival type.
Yeah.
But I mean, Roddy Piper, like I said, the wrestlers back in those days, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten into the new school ones. I need to start doing it, especially because we talk about it a lot on the show. But yeah, this was my old school wrestling list. I was just thinking about it this morning. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put this together.
Yeah, and don't
Ric
forget,
Flair, man. Ric Flair was just awesome. And Sting,
back then, Johnny,
dude, like I said, it was cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of the territories and a
Mhm.
lot of the old school
Right.
wrestling. It wasn't as entertainment driven as it is now.
Right.
So it was pure wrestling back then. I mean, you had
Yeah.
like guys like Superstar Billy Graham, Snooker,
Yes.
Piper. You had guys that just wanted to wrestle back
Yeah.
then, and it was great. I mean, I growing up, I watched it every time.
I mean, you look at starting with Dusty Rhodes. Like Dusty Rhodes' influence is still in today's wrestling. A lot of those guys, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, obviously Cody. Like he had a hand in all those guys, especially NXT, developing those guys. So like that's his influence in wrestling. It really, I think every list has to have Ric Flair almost because the Nature Boy is, one of those guys like could do it well in the ring, tell a story in the ring, cut a great promo.
Right.
And the Undertaker, you had him on your list. Like nobody may have kept more kayfabe alive. Even as we got into the digital world and Twitter and things like that, then the Undertaker, he still maintained kayfabe until like now, right here, and he's retired, and and he's even said like the Undertaker persona is dead. If I ever did something, it would be the dead, the American badass kind of guy,
Right.
He's like so he kept kayfabe alive even as far as now and throughout those years where everybody else, and now he's got his own little one-man show that you can catch traveling around. So, I don't really I don't really have a whole from let's just say 95 to whatever. I think you could probably that's probably a good top 5, Johnny, as far as I'm concerned. Tanner, what's your thoughts on the Cruising top 5?
I like it from that era. For me, I didn't grow up in that era, so like my wrestling stuff was really the 2000s and more and up there. So like my favorite's Kane with the red mask. But Kane the whole way, right? I also had Rikishi in my list. Steen was my big one as well. Kind of went down my way, just to remind myself. Goldberg would be in my list as well. For that, because I just enjoyed playing with him. And then the Dudley Boys, because those were my favorite tag team guys. And of course, Stone Cold, right? Stone Cold.
I get everybody's appeal for Stone Cold and The Rock and what I'm saying, all that. Sting was just getting started when I was finishing up. You know what I'm saying, watching wrestling in the 90s. So Sting's been around for a minute.
Batista was also one of my favorites to watch, even though I hated his crew. It was fun to see him just like tear apart somebody,
The Big Show was fun to watch.
Was Randy Savage? Was Randy Savage in an incident too?
He was huge, man. Yeah. He was like I said, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake. Like there's a few that would just miss the list, but I think these 5 here,
if you guys ever, there's a couple shows for you, Johnny, especially like this Tuesday or Thursday, Dark Side of the Ring is doing a special on Bam Bam Bigelow. If you haven't watched any of their stuff, they go into like details. The Jimmy Snuka, it's phenomenal. It's a great documentary. It's all about the older stuff. And it's the dark, like, I mean, it's talk dark side of the ring about how they got addicted to drugs, how Snuka murdered somebody. I mean, it's great. You can catch it all. And then the AEW biography series has been really good, and even the WWE Rivals on A&E has been pretty good. But I definitely, if you're a wrestling fan of like the 80s and that type of stuff, check out Dark Side of the Ring. It's they kill it every time. It's even if it's wrestlers you never heard of, the documentary series is it's really good.
Yeah, my wife has actually mentioned that I think they have like a Dark Side of the NFL and all that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
they do.
Yeah, she's I mean, she's watched some of that stuff and she's told me, babe, you need to watch this. So I'll have to check that out. What was that? WWE Rivals? What was it?
Rivals,
It's on A&E Sunday nights, and they have a Rivals, and they also do. They go back and another shows. They go back and find these guys like Ric Flair's robe that he wore.
The memorabilia show. Yeah, with Mick Foley. Yeah.
All right, so I gotta ask real quick. What's your favorite tag team? Like I used to love the British Bulldogs from back in the day.
Boys.
The Road Warriors were a lot of fun back in the day. Where will you guys go as far as your favorite tag team?
I think the Dudley Boys, because they were tops at ECW, WWE, WCW. Were they in WCW? Yeah, they were in WCW.
They were in WCW. Yeah, they were.
They were tops in every promotion that they went to.
Nice.
So when you look at the Dudley Boys, they got like 20-something titles, tag team titles, phenomenal tag team, and nobody puts them at the top of the list. I put them as number one.
I like the Dudleys. I like oh, you didn't know, your ass better call somebody. The New Age Outlaws. I enjoy, maybe just because they talk a lot of shit, so I'm always infatuated with guys who can do that. But the Dudleys, the Hardys, I mean, Matt and Jeff always just laid it on the line. I think any list you have to add the Road Warriors as well. So our Legion of Doom, however LOD, Road Warriors / LOD, however you want to call them. So
shame.
I got another question too.
Go for it.
There's one recommendation I would, anybody on YouTube, go back and find Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, WrestleMania 3 and watch that match.
Yeah.
Best match of all time. Best match of all time in my mind.
Yeah, I got goosebumps right now, bro. I remember that one. Yeah. Bro, my favorite belt, because there's like 85 different belts. Do you remember that Intercontinental champion that like basically took up everybody's entire chest? Like that belt back in the day was badass. Like I had to get myself one of them replica ones and stuff like that. It was huge, bro. The Intercontinental Championship belt was
the old massive, Goldberg. When Goldberg had the WCW, the heavyweight title, like that big gold one, and you just see him coming out with the sparks, and like that's part of my
Oh yeah, dude.
That was phenomenal. And do you know that Steamboat talked about that behind the scenes? Those guys, it took a week for them to set that match up.
Yeah.
They had pads and pads of paper with move after move on it that they both set up. And that was how Savage liked it. He wanted to set everything up on paper to know exactly what was going to happen at every second. So
hey, before we get out of here, Anthony Price had a question up there about some fantasy real quick, Tanner.
Yep. Since you're talking fantasy, knowing Tua would be a gamble to draft Mike White on your bench or wait until Tua gets injured.
I would wait until the end of training camp because he might actually get beat out by Skylar Thompson. So I seriously, if you're gonna take Tua, you better take Tua with the thought process that he's gonna get through most of the season. If not, I would just avoid Dolphin quarterbacks. Period. But I think Tua is gonna survive the season and play well all season. But Mike White, bro. I mean, like I said, he may not even be the number 2 once we get out of camp, man. Like they said, he looks horrible, bro.
Well, here's what I would do. Johnny's got a show on Let's Talk Sports, Let's Talk Dolphins. Him and Alex, I would listen to them because they're dialed into it. And I also would watch any reports coming out of Miami Dolphins camp on it. But if you're going to take Tua, you definitely probably as a last pick want to pick his backup. Yeah. Just in case. I'm not saying he's going to get injured, just in case. You never know.
But again, wait to the end of training camp because it very well could be Skylar as the number 2. But yeah, I agree with Sky. If you're gonna take Tua, you gotta take the backup just as insurance. But Skylar might win that job, man. I mean, Mike McDaniel really likes him. This is gonna be his second year in the offense. You saw, I mean, he played okay in that playoff game, but he got himself a little experience. He's a little bit older for having been a rookie last year. He was already 25, so he's already 26. So. I think he might actually beat Mike White out, man. Like I said, that what I'm hearing down in Miami, like Mike White looks like total trash, bro.
I wouldn't take either one of them, at all. Like you probably could find a better quarterback who's starting before you go to Mike White or Skyler. I mean, it's depending on like your league. If it's 2 quarterback, you super flex.
Yeah, it depends how deep it is too, right? If you have a 25-man roster, maybe you throw a gamble out there. If it's a 15. You're not taking any of those guys.
Here's my suggestion: avoid Tua altogether. If you're shaking your head,
if you can, bro,
don't draft them. Don't
draft. The only problem is, I mean, you could team Tua with Tyreek, you could team Tua with Waddle, and you could blow up. You say you could stack it like that, but
it's worth a shot. It really is.
Like,
it's not undraftable.
Right, like Ryan said, if you're gonna get him after like the 7th round. Then you can take a shot onto, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're not going to take him in the early rounds or whatever, but I think he stays healthy for the majority of the season. I think he'll definitely be at the end of the season. I think they're gonna emphasize running the ball a lot more. Don't be surprised if Dalvin Cook doesn't get signed in the next week or 2, especially with now he got all this drama going on. He better take whatever contract he can get, and I think he wants to play in Miami, so I think they make that happen, but.
What's the drama? I missed it, Johnny. What's the drama?
Well, there's some reports allegedly that he tried to pay off some people that he might have gotten into scuffle with of the opposite sex, which is never a good thing. So I'm hoping that it's not true. And
NDAs? Did they sign NDAs?
This is allegedly. So we'll see what happens with that. What's up?
Did they sign NDAs?
I think he was trying to. I think that's what the issue is. He was trying to get them to. It was like hush money or whatever. So,
but I'm asking.
I think one of them he offered.
If they signed, if he gave them a money and they signed an NDA, they can't even say.
Well, no, they didn't take. Like one of them, he supposedly, again, this is alleged. Supposedly, he offered $1 million for some hush money, and they told him no. So
give me $100 million.
That's not a good sign right there. So
there has been talk around league circles that he could get suspended if he signs because of this. So
okay, I haven't heard this.
I still think Mike McDaniel is going to emphasize running the ball a lot more. He admitted after last season that he kind of got enamored with having Tyreek and Waddle out there and abandoned the running game a little bit too early. So hopefully we run the ball a lot more to a second year in this offense. Hopefully that'll help him stay healthy throughout the season. But it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, if there's other options as far as fantasy, Anthony. I would avoid it altogether if you know what I'm saying, if you can. But
Johnny, here's a question.
Later on rounds, go ahead.
Which running back do you prefer out of that backfield? If Dalvin Cook does not sign, it's the situation you have now. Which running back would you prefer them feature?
Devon A-Chain. But it ain't gonna happen right away. I think he's gonna use him in a lot of different roles. Like he may line up in the slot. I mean, the kid's got great hands, so they're gonna do a lot of. I mean, and Mike McDaniel was banging the table for that. Like he wanted them to use their second round pick on him. Mm-hmm. But they got the corner and they were still able to get him with the 84th pick. So Mike McDaniel is in love with that kid. There's nothing but great talk about his speed and his quickness. He's already grasping the playbook. So don't be surprised if by midseason he's the number one guy. But they're gonna rotate a lot with the 3. But he's the one, you know what I'm saying? He has the potential for rookie of the year, depending, as far as like total scrimmage yards, he can be part of the return game as well. So Devon A-Chain is going to be a player, but if you have to go out of the Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, then I would go Mostert.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, boys. Well, let's go ahead and let's get our final goodbyes out of here and wrap her up. Johnny, we'll start with you, brother.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And as we were just talking Dolphins, I'm going to go ahead and this Tuesday will be the return of Let's Talk Miami Dolphins. It'll be Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Me and my boy Alex Bastillo we'll be back to talk some Dolphins football. We got the veteran players are actually reporting on the 25th as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Monday is going to be an interesting day. I'm hopeful to bring back Let's Talk, the Johnny Cruz show, but that might have to wait another week. This move has been excruciatingly long and painful, and I'm an old ass man, so it's wearing on the body. So the Johnny Cruz show may not be back till the following week, but this Tuesday I will be back on Let's Talk New York Yankees with my boys, Mr. Dan Harris. Shout out to Dan Harris and Rob Logan. And then, of course, the return of Let's Talk Miami Dolphins Tuesday night, 8 p.m. with me and my boy Alex. And then, of course, you can catch me here on the Let's Talk Sports Show with my boys here, which is always fun. I was looking forward to this. I can't wait to talk to Jim and John on Monday night. So it's gonna be a good time tomorrow. Definitely check us out. And if I'm not dying later, you may be able to catch me on Off the Rails with Ryan and the fellas here. So we'll see what happens. I may have to do that one on my phone and just make a little cameo to say what's up to you. I miss doing that show. That's a fun show. Definitely check that out. If you're new, hit the subscribe, smash that like button. It helps us out. And definitely hit the little bell so you get notifications on everything that's going on in the show. Dan Harris is doing some incredible stuff. Of course, the wonderful Tanner is doing all kinds of production for everybody. He's got some new shows going on. There's a lot of stuff going on Let's Talk Sports. So definitely you want to be a part of it. You don't want to miss out on it. So check us out.
Scott, go ahead.
Well, Johnny, first of all, you missed the Larison family reunion last week on Off the Rails.
Bro, I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken. I ain't gonna lie, but I think I was laid out. I think I was laid out on the floor from so much pain from last week's part of the move. So, but no, I'll definitely catch that one up. And not for nothing, but the LTS show is on Spotify and all that. It's been a blast listening to us, you know what I'm saying, at work, because I'm able to, creep and have my earpods in at work.
I'm working on
I've been loving watching the LT. I've been loving listening to our podcast on Spotify.
I'm working on the Apple Podcast thing. They like to change their stuff around, and now it makes it harder for you to get on. So, I just gotta figure out how to kick that door down, and we'll get on Apple.
Yeah,
so.
and I don't know if it's just me, but we sound good, bro.
So couple things to promote. First of all, the Let's Talk Sports show has been phenomenal. It's been killing it, with our guests Monday nights, and I get previews of the divisions on Thursdays. First of all, August 2nd, Scott Cobe show will return Wednesday night, August 2nd. Special guest will be Jim Coventry of rotowire.com. So tune into that. Very good fantasy guy. Won a national championship in fantasy a number of years ago. So that'll be fun and informative. Number two, myself and Dan Harris are now in the works of doing a golf betting show starting with the Masters next year.
Nice.
So that is something that is not really you could find on the internet except for a couple of places. I approached Dan with the idea of doing that, and he said, let's do it. So we're going to start with the Masters next year, and we're going to do all the majors and the FedEx playoffs next year. So be looking out for that, where you'll have tournament matchups to bet on. You'll have, my predictions for top 10s, top 5s, top 20s, and outright winners. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been betting a lot of golf lately. It's a lot of fun to sit there and watch how your guys are doing, and the British Open's going on right now. So if you got any couple bets in, go watch that now. It's pouring rain out there. It's windy. What
were your baseball before we get to Tanner? What were your baseball picks again for today? I know you had the San Diego money line, Phillies money line.
I got what do I got? San Diego money line, Phillies money line, Seattle money line.
Seattle. All right, if you want to make some money, people, you better listen to Scott, yo.
Yep, and the other thing is watch the Let's Talk Bets with myself and Matt Larison. This week we had a special guest, Alan Perales was on. So
I saw that. I was wondering.
A lot of Cowboys talk, huh?
A lot of Cowboys talk. It's terrible. I almost jumped off when the Cowboys talk started happening. I was like, out of here. See you later. But No, Matt does a great job with it. He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, he knows his stuff, man.
He does too.
And your baseball show.
And the baseball show. Sorry, Alan.
Hey, Alan, do you notice that he always forgets to mention the baseball show?
There's a reason
I'm
for
just
that,
saying.
Alan.
I'm just
There's a
saying.
reason for that.
Stop
Hey,
bringing
we
up
have
the
the
Texas
baseball
Rangers
show.
every time, Alan.
We have the baseball show with the Rangers fan and a guy that hates any New York sports teams in the world, and Jonathan Grishman. He hates them with a passion. So
yes, he does.
He's totally happy to.
I can feel it through the screen, bro. I can feel that through the screen.
Did you hear the story? He showed up.
He's great, man. Jonathan's great.
Interview. He can back this up Monday night when we talk to him. He showed up for an interview to get a job with the Mets wearing an Atlanta Braves hat. and one of the players in the Curtis Granderson was like, "Are you really going in with the Braves hat on?" And Jonathan said, "Yes, I am." He was out the door 5 minutes after.
I totally believe that, yo. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, that's just like King Griffey Jr. said. Hey, I wouldn't sign with the Yankees till if they were the last team to offer me a contract.
Tanner was the same way. I ain't signed with the Mets.
What's your final thoughts here?
Guys, RIP to my baseball idol in my high school days here. Donnie Baker passed away. In case you guys don't know him.
Jeez.
One of the best out there. Great instructional videos. Inspirations,
Donnie Baker died?
Donnie Baker passed away, yep.
How?
I don't know.
Oh, man, I didn't know that. I love Donnie Baker. This shit's hilarious on YouTube.
Who is that he's imitating? I recognize that stand.
Oh, Sheffield.
Oh, that was Sheffield. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. RIP, bro.
That day there. Found that out yesterday.
I didn't know that.
Great. If you haven't had a chance to view him, it's really great to watch him. Him and Kent Murphy, both my idols. In that area. So, outside of that, guys, look, just lots of cool stuff happening right now. Working with Bobby G, trying to get him set up, get him rolling on his new show there. The Rec Room Sports guys, we're doing our little thing on Tuesday night. Oh, we'll post it Wednesday, but we'll record Tuesday nights, and we're doing a little around the horn style deal there. Buffoons are doing buffoon things. I won't be on Wednesday again, but I'm sure they'll figure out their audio this time. So we'll have to see there. And then of course,
the other night, did I see you at the casino?
I wasn't at the casino.
No,
but they were. They were at the casino. Yeah. Yeah, that's they'll probably be there again. I'll be honest with you. So most likely that's going to be the case. They're home away from home on Wednesdays. That's where they come from. And they come to my house. But yeah, that's a lot's going on, guys. Just make sure you hit that subscribe, tune in, hit the bell, because there's tons of stuff happening, and we're a month away from football stuff, shows, pre-shows, post shows. I already talked with Dan on a lot of stuff. So there's a bunch in the works. So just be ready. We got tons of content coming your way, tons of cool stuff coming your way. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Going on, David Burns.
What's up, David?
Cedar Hill, Texas. That's the man. What's up, dude?
What's up, David? So my final thoughts. Remember the name Tommy Aspinall, folks. He's a UFC fighter. 365 days ago, towards ACL, MCL. In a fight, and 30 seconds into a fight, came back yesterday, scorched Tybura. I've been touting Tommy Aspinall as a future heavyweight champ. He's number 5 right now. He's about 2 wins away. Called out Ciryl Gane yesterday and then said, I'm gonna beat him, and then I'm gonna beat John Jones. I have been touting Tommy Aspinall for a while, so there's a cool video of the 2 years ago when Tom Aspinall won in London. The streets were going crazy. They're chanting, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall. So if you get to check that out, it is great. I love Tommy Aspinall, future heavyweight champ. So remember the name Tommy Aspinall, folks. Put some money down on him as future heavyweight champion. This guy is huge. He's 6. He's limber. He's got hands. He can wrestle. He can do it all. I love Tom Aspinall. It's great to see him get back and scorch Tybura yesterday afternoon in the first round. So that's it. We'll be back for most of us, I think, at least me, Tanner, and Scott, hopefully for Off the Rails at 4 o'clock Central, 5 Eastern. And then we'll be back tomorrow night, baby, with Jonathan Grisham, Jim Behringer, as always, our Monday night's crew. Talk a little hockey, talk a little baseball, talk a little more wrestling. You guys know what it is. We'll be back 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern tomorrow night for another great episode of the Let's Talk Sports Show. We'll see you then. Tanner, hit that outro and let's get out of here. Have a Sunday, folks.
See you guys. No Sam Senior today.
Peace out.
Life better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep, only scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try